All right. Commissioner Honor, if you may lead us in a prayer and pledge.
Father, we come to you this hour asking for your help as we gather safely together. We are grateful for the staff throughout the county that keeps our offices running efficiently. Provide them with the knowledge and strength needed to approach each situation in the best way. Most of all, give them the strength to approach each day, establish clear boundaries between work and personal life so they can find balance and fulfillment in both. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of preparing accurate written minutes. Recordings are overwritten following approval of the minutes, eliminating all unofficial records of these proceedings. Your first item, number 26-105, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting held February 5th, 2026, noting the changes as listed.
Motion with changes.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes. Yes. Are there any guests here concerning county business? Hearing none.
The opening of bids, number 26-106, the LP gas delivery and equipment service at various locations.
No bid. Motion to advertise immediately because of the existing contract running out at the end of the month.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
The next item is item number 26-107, the sewage removal and disposal services for Mock Chunk Lake Park and the Carbon County Environmental Education Center. We have one bid from Allstate Septic Systems of Bangor, Pennsylvania.
No. I know there's an issue.
Okay. For Monday through Friday service, the price is 0.145 per gallon. For Saturday, Sunday, and holiday service, the price is 0.20 per gallon.
We have a big one. Yeah, see one. Does it require?
No. Oh, okay. All right.
Does not require.
Okay. No.
Is there any reason to have to table?
Yeah, is it, did you look at it? Do we have to table, I mean, for 2 weeks or? do we
They have the
just
current
accept it?
contract now.
I mean,
There's no requirement to.
I mean, I'm make a motion to accept.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Recorded executive session, so
There were none?
department reports, number 26-108, the budget transfers 2025-2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Number 26-109, there are no supplemental appropriations. Number 26-110, expenditures for the payroll dated February 6, 2026.
Motion to ratify.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Number 26-111, the warrants dated February 12th, 2026.
Motion to ratify.
Second,
Honor?
Yes.
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Number 26-112, the warrants dated February 19th, 2026.
Motion approved.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Item number 26-113, the treasurer's reports.
Motion to approve as presented for both reports.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Number 26114, personnel report for county departments.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Number 26115, the acknowledgements for courts and row offices.
Motion acknowledge.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Correspondence was received as listed. Copies will be made available to the press upon the class. Advertising, number 26116, CDBG, Hackett Township.
Motion to approve the advertising.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Number 26117, Boards and Authorities, the Pocono County's WIOA appointment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Children and Youth, number 26118, the agreements as listed.
Motion approve and execute.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Number 26119, a revision to the invoice report.
Motion ratified.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Number 26120, the invoice report, second quarter.
Motion approve and execute.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
The Coroner's Office, number 26121, Enterprise, the purchase option.
Motion ratify.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
County Buildings, number 26122, Schindler Elevator for 76 Susquehanna Street.
Motion approve and execute.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Courts Computer, number 26123, an agreement with Data.
Motion approve and execute.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Number 26124, District Court Office, Judge Schrott's agreement with Data.
Motion to approve and execute.
Mr.
Second.
Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Human Services, number 26125, the State Food Expense and Data Report.
Motion ratify.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Juvenile Probation, number 26126, the Grant in Aid.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
GIS Mapping, number 26127, the revised fee schedule.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Planning and Development, number 26128, the CDBG 2025 delegation of signing. We have
Motion.
promotions there.
Motion execute the forms.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
And motion to adopt the resolution.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Number 26129, the American Legion Post Cooperation Agreement.
Motion to ratify.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Depository number 26130, the purchase service agreement with Edwards Business.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second.
Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
The Solicitor's Report.
Thank you. First, for the Area Agency on Aging, item 26-131, agreement with the Borough of Lehighton.
Motion approve and execute.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Item 26-132, memorandum of understanding with the Pennsylvania Association of Area Agencies on Aging.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Auditing Services, item 26-133, agreement based on the revised proposal from Baker Tilly.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Josiah White Park, item 26-134, special activities agreement with the Eagles Autism Foundation fundraiser.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Item 26-135, proclamation 26-001, acknowledging the week of February 8th to the 14th of 2026 as FBLA week.
Motion to ratify.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
And lastly, under purchasing, item 26-136, agreement with Sites Brothers Exterminating.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Nothing further for the solicitor's report.
Any further business? Hearing none. Commissioners' reports, Mr. Honor?
Nothing at this time.
Mr.
I
Notstein?
have nothing today.
Mr. Sifranco?
I have nothing today.
Put that in the minutes.
Adjourn.
All right, with that, we will adjourn the commissioners meeting. In the election.
Election Board meeting of February 19th, 2026 is to approve the minutes from Election Board meeting held on January 15th, 2026.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Arner,
Yes.
Mr. Notstein,
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco,
Yes.
are there any guests concerning Election Board business? Election Board business?
The only thing I would like to make clear is I know there has been, when there were runoffs, like people go in and write names in, judge of elections, inspectors and all that. And the election office has been clearing up because you can't hold two offices. And people have been, called and been asked, obviously, you have to resign one and accept the other. And, the word out there from some calls that we had received were, why is the election office calling and asking me to resign the position I was elected to? We're not asking you to resign, we're telling you that that's the law. I mean, you can't be
Hold two positions.
hold two positions. So you're asked to make a decision. So what happens is people go in and they see nobody in that office and they write a name in, and that's fine. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what election's about. But when you begin cleaning it up for the next election, we can't have the same person be judge of elections, inspection of elections, minority judge. I mean, it all has to, there has to be one, and that's by election code. So if there's any miscommunication out there, I'd just like to make everyone aware of that. And I don't know if you want to add to that, Jen, or if you're.
No, what you said was perfect. If we call you, it's because you hold two positions, and like you said, the Pennsylvania Code of Elections states that you can only hold one.
And last year, obviously, when we finished up everybody, there were names you had to draw, and some people were written in for 3-4 different positions. And when you did the draw, they won
both things.
both. So
So there's some people that run for two positions and win both of them.
they have to resign. So nobody's being told to resign. Everyone's being told to pick and you can turn both down or 3 down, whatever it's up, because some people don't even know their name. Well, they know their name was written in, but they don't realize, one of their friends went in and said, hey, it'd be funny to put Wayne Notstein on, and I mean, and that's what happens. Happened to me.
Decline.
But I mean, that's what's happening is, you think, but and nobody realizes, what the ramifications are of that. And you should write people's names, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that now we have to continue. That's another issue we have to continue to clean up. And some people have said it happened in the past. They have checked, and I haven't seen any indication of where someone has been left to hold two positions. So. Okay.
Any further business? All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Any questions from the news media for elections? Go ahead.
Quick clarification. When you're talking about two positions, is that strictly the precinct, the election judge and all that you're doing right now? So obviously it's not borough councils a lot, they would know.
Right, it's pretty much the judge, and I also did have somebody call regarding wanting to be on the ballot for this upcoming election for county committee person. and he actually holds the judge of elections, which if you look in the code, you cannot hold two positions. So, and he's kind of concerned because he doesn't understand why, but it's Pennsylvania code. So it's, you just can't hold two positions,
No matter what.
no matter what,
No.
no matter what, you can't be on that ballot. Right?
And before it goes any further, I know if you do pass and you go down to Lehigh County, there was a gentleman that was on a school board, I think Parkland School Board, I'm not sure which, I won't call out at school, but it was a school board, and he won a seat as state senator. And there was a back and forth as to whether he could hold both of those positions, because, and ultimately, in the end, he ended up resigning, obviously, from the school board he had been elected to. But he had already been serving there, and you can't do two.
Thank you.
Okay. Madam Controller, Retirement Board.
First thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting held January 15th.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Zelinka,
Yes.
Mrs. Herman, yes. Mr. Arner,
Yes.
Mr. Notstein,
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco.
Yes.
Any guests concerning retirement board business? There. Report of executive sessions.
I think there wasn't there one to discuss personnel?
For the actuary.
Or
For the actuary,
Yeah.
there was one to discuss personnel.
Friday.
That was Friday.
Yeah.
A week ago Friday.
It was last
Yeah.
Friday.
Okay,
10 a.m.
all right.
Thank you. Motion to ratify the warrant December checks 41258 to 41262 and December direct deposit numbers 7035459 to 7035890.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Zelinka,
Yes.
Mrs. Herman, yes. Mr. Arner,
Yes.
Mr. Notstein,
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco.
Yes.
Retirement activity for January. There was 5 retirement refunds. One deceased. On behalf of the retirement board, we send our condolences to the family of Darlene Solomon. Disbursements for January, monthly benefits, $532,439.78. Refunds, $16,552.93 for a total disbursement of $548,992.71. The portfolio value as of January 31st, 2026 was $101,292,111.46. There were no correspondence received. Anything for the solicitor's report?
Do you have any?
They were kind of figuring out what they were gonna order for dinner, right?
You're talking about us.
Yeah.
Is that me? Is that me?
And today we have our investment manager, Sarah Wilson, with us from Marquette Associates.
Okay.
Morning.
Good morning. How are we?
I handed out you can see the Pennsylvania County Database Report. We do that every year, and that's for you to review. And it just shows how you're doing across the board versus other counties. The one thing to take into account, last year, we had a difficult time getting as many reports due to a lot of counties were in flux with their actuaries. So it's not as participated as it usually is. Usually we have great participation. So
And am I right or wrong, or is this the first time that we ever went over
No,
100?
Actually, it's not,
Isn't it? I thought,
but you've hit, I passed that out. We can go through that.
okay,
But you're taking over 5 million a year out. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. But yes, I think you hit it once before, but we had a great year last year and we've had a nice January as well. All right, let's go to the report. Want me to take the clicker? Can you click? Okay. Let's quickly just go to Exhibit 1. So we'll go to the Marquette update. We are entering, and you're going to see a lot of information about this, our 40th year in business this year. We are, privately held and completely employee owned. Last year was the final year. Brian Robel, who started the company, who will still remain with the company on the board, is now they've bought out his ownership. So we have, because he's ready to retire. We added 4 new employees, 4 new owners last year. And something to always keep in mind is that since we're employee owned, since it takes 2/3 to sell us, meaning that we're young, we're not going to get bought out by a bank. We're not going to see us merge with anything. We're still going to stay independent consultants and have really planned for the future for this firm. And currently we're 441 billion under advisement, and about 85 billion of that is in state of Pennsylvania. So it was a good year. Let's go to the next tab and we'll talk about the economy. I always think this always changes on me. It's the Fed fund rate, what they think is going to happen with the Fed, and GDP. So we know GDP last year decelerated in the fourth quarter, according to economic forecasts. And then it came out this year, the third quarter, because it takes a while to get data. And because of the shutdown, government shutdown, we didn't get a lot of that data. It was delayed. So what came out, and this goes into where we're looking at the Fed because it's changed from last quarter. It came out at 4.4%. So it actually, we have seen some growth in the GDP there. The real drivers in the economic growth are likely to remain intact, and that is technology. And if you look at that hyperscale capital expenditure, the Amazon, the Meta, the Google, Microsoft, and Oracle, they are what is growing and keeping the economy growing. If you took them out, we would have probably a very different situation on there. And look how much they are putting in. So the estimate on 2026, they're going to put in 539 billion. It's a raise of 36%. And look at the estimate for 2027, it's up 17%. One of the things is we know it's AI, and AI is really having an effect in the economy. But I thought this was interesting. Google has not been doing as well because nobody's using the search engine as they used to. I mean, we're all older, we're going into it, but AI is now kind of overtaking that. So for that portion of their business, has actually had less earnings than it's had before. So they've got to figure out what they're going to do with that. We know that AI is really also moving the market. We're still the Magnificent Seven are driving this market, drove the equity markets as well. If we turn to page 11, we look at the one big beautiful tax bill, and we talked about that last quarter. We know that in 2025 and 2026, we are going to see that have an effect, a positive effect on the economy, the consumer, and then after that may not be as much. And we look at that, and Goldman Sachs estimates U.S. consumers will receive an extra 100 billion in tax refunds this year. So you're going to see that in the economy. But when we look at the economy and we see what's happening, we know unemployment rates remain low. Weekly jobless claims are remarkably well behaved, but monthly payroll report shows a deceleration in hiring. Job openings have fallen to the lows of 2021. So we're actually looking at what is going on in this market, and this is really going on to the Fed, is who is actually spending, who's keeping up with the economy. So we have seen the job markets go. Wages have risen 3.8% for the higher income earning households. For the lower income households, and that is only 10% of the economy. So when we really dig down into the economics of that, we look that 10 of the wealthiest percent of the wealthiest US households now account for roughly half of all consumer spending. So you take that away, we've actually seen a dip in consumer spending. We know consumer spending, we look at consumer discretionary, we look at consumer spending for the fourth quarter. We know, it's always the holidays and everything else like that. The consumer is still spending, but they're not spending as much. And then we look at what's happening with inflation. So we know the Fed came out last year, we had 50 basis points rate cut during the fourth quarter alone. And then we were looking at the beginning of the year, and we knew that the Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, has been nominated. He's got to pass approval. He is very interesting. He kind of aligns himself with wanting to aggressively reduce the size of its balance sheet, and also aligns himself with the current administration who really wants to see Fed cuts. We have now noticed when we look at the meeting notes that came out yesterday is that the Fed is starting to be divided on what they think they're going to do. So usually when that board meets, you usually get a sense that they're all on the same page, and now they're divided. That took the idea of them having cuts are now on the table again. We thought maybe they would start cutting in June. Some economists thought it was 2 to 3 cuts, and now we're going to step back because we have this inflation is going up. And then you've got the consumer still spending, but you also have on the other side of it is what's happening with jobless claims, and you're looking at the consumer. So as inflation grows, they want to cut inflation. How do they cut inflation? The consumer can't spend anymore. Then you've got the sideline, the consumer just then puts it on plastic. And that is really going to come back. I mean, we keep talking about that. I know I do. You have got the American consumer is in so much debt that eventually it's going to come home to roost. And then what do you do with that? And that will, lead to foreclosures and everything else. Now, the low interest rates have helped, and we'll look at where the real estate we've seen it. Let's turn the page. We'll talk a little bit about asset class. I'll jump into that. Just quickly, we know we're a global economy. You've made asset allocation to global stocks and managers, and that has helped. But we also look at what's happened is China is saying, okay, you're going to put tariffs on us. We will just export to Europe. So it's a very interesting dynamic where tariffs, you are probably all feeling tariffs are slowly eking in there. I would say that we see it in the grocery store. We probably see it when we're out shopping. And then we're going to start seeing it on major shipments. But China has said, okay, we're going to do this. So they have actually exported more into Europe, trying to change their economy. And China's economy, we kind of look at as, because it's so large and because it has such an impact on manufacturing and exporting. We buy, you go to the store, everything's made in China. That we look at that. They still have not got ahead of themselves. They have a struggling economy, especially with their property market, and they have weak consumer spending, which we don't want weak consumer spending, but they actually have done that. So if we go to page 13, we go look. Last year, U.S. equities did 17.1. We know that now developing non-U.S. equities in emerging markets did 31.2% and 33.6%. Bonds had a great year. They did 7.3%. So that is actually a very good year for fixed income assets. We've seen fixed income assets really struggle. And then we look at commodities, and commodities did 15.8. We know that crude oil prices declined by nearly 10% last year. We don't feel it. If you go anywhere else outside of Pennsylvania, you would see gas prices much lower. It's because of all the tax we have here. There. And then we look at what happened. Gold is very interesting, gold and silver. You have seen a lot of volatility. We see that the markets, when there's markets, they will go rush to gold. And people will buy gold. Gold went up to over I think it was 5,800 in January and then dropped. Silver went up to 112, then dropped at the end of January. So we've seen a lot of volatility even within the commodity markets. Usually we don't see that kind of volatility, that up and down. So heading into this year, we're going to see a lot more volatility. And when we look at your second quarter, your January performance, you're going to see your portfolio did well because it's built for volatility there. If you turn the page, quickly, we'll just look at the U.S. equities, and you can see consumer discretionary only posted 5.9. If financials were up 15%, financials always do well, and when rates, they also do well when rates come down because then people will borrow. We have not seen that much movement in the mortgage. And if you look at real estate, individual real estate, mortgage rates are usually, they align with the 10-year treasury. So they have not moved as much. So for borrowing, we're still seeing higher rates than there were a couple of years ago. It has helped on real estate, and going forward, it's going to help on real estate because commercial real estate are now, they've gotten the office space off the books. Now AI, they need data centers, so they're going to be buying all of that to build those data centers. One thing that we do get concerned with is if the infrastructure can keep up with the demand for AI, and you also have water for data centers, so that's going to be another issue there. We look from a style perspective, value stocks top growth stocks, so our growth managers kind of struggled a little bit. And then one thing we have to keep in mind is last year, small cap stocks struggled. The top 25 small cap managers underperformed their relative benchmark by 16%. And we're going to see that with one of your small cap managers. It's just how the market was. It was very hard for small cap companies just to get ahead of themselves. And a lot of that was that it was expensive to borrow money because we know that when they cut rates, it takes a while to be effective. We also know that AI, the Magnificent Seven, have been really driving the markets. And just briefly on page 15, you can look at the S&P earnings growth, and we look at what's expected and what's reported. And U.S. equity gains were modest in the fourth quarter. Markets recorded a third consecutive year of double-digit returns in 2025, supported by solid economic activity and strong corporate profit growth. So it was a good year. And then going forward, we think that this year it's going to be kind of step back, see what happens with the Fed. We have to, always we look at geopolitical, how that's going to affect the market. We look at what's going to happen with the consumer, but we really are looking at the labor market. I think that's going to drive a little bit of, what happens with equity returns. Are there any questions? All right, let's go to yours. We'll go to Exhibit 3. We'll go to page 22. The value as of December 31st was 99.7 million. You had a net return of 2.2% with a return of 2.2 million. Year to date, you returned 15.3 with a net investment gain of 13.5. Net, everything, all the fees out of there. And then since inception, you've had an annualized return of 9.3, so you've outperformed your actuarial rate of return. That is what this portfolio is meant to do. We can look at what it did versus benchmarks. We can make sure that it's still in line. But as long as we are keeping up with that, then you as the fiduciaries are doing a great job. And you had a net investment gain of 103 million. Positive attribution for the quarter is defensive equity. Global manager Dodge and Cox. We'll look at what's happened with GWK. That is your small cap manager. We moved global manager WCM to a CIT and lowered the fees from 105 basis points to 70 basis points. So when we moved money to that manager, we went in and said, can you make a CIT for us? They did. That's a collective investment trust, and it became much cheaper to have that manager. And that was just because of the size that we were moving with them. Low investment management fees of of 29 basis points. And one thing I wanted to look at, page 23, look at your 1 year and you're right on performance, but look at how much you're taking out. You're taking out $5.3 million a year to pay benefits. So in a good year, we can keep ahead of that. In not so good of a year, and I don't have control of the market, we cannot keep ahead of that. So I think once we get, you get your actuarial report done this year, we should probably review it, have the actuary come in and talk about that, and then maybe look at a little bit of a different asset allocation. I mean, it's hard, you're at 100 million, what to do with your asset allocation, but we'll maybe run a stress test and look at that and see if there's anything else we can do. I personally don't think you want to take too much more risk. We de-risked the portfolio when you went into real estate, infrastructure, defensive equity. We might just go look at where your fixed income is. We might go and maybe get CS McKee to maybe manage the cash and pull it all out for the year, and then just every month, do cash management. So we're not always rebalancing and selling in a down. If we have to sell, we're not selling in a down market. So there's a couple things, but we should probably look at that because the withdrawals are only going to become more. It's not going to become less. So, and we'd probably do that in an education session if we want to and really look at that. But I think it's important to do this year. Let's go to page, gotta find it, page 32. Are there any questions so far? All right, I just wanted to point out 2 or 3 managers, and we talked about GWK and we talked about small mid-cap core equity. You just have to stand back and know for the year they were 4.7 versus 11.9. So they did do actually better than some of their counterparts. It's small cap. So, if you are, when you look at your returns, you go and look at your quarterly reports and you actually do compare your managers to their benchmark, we're still very comfortable with them. We get weekly updates from them. We talk to their portfolio managers. Nothing has changed. It's just the environment. So we're going to still keep them there. One of the things is active equity management. We could go look at putting in another active manager within your U.S. equities. So we'll talk about that when we look at asset allocation. Look at global equity composite. Dodge and Cox, 4% versus 3.7. Since they have been in the portfolio, they've done 16.9 versus 13.7. That's page 33. And then we look at DFA, we put them in. They just had their core equity. So we know that most of the year growth outperformed since their core, but they still did 28% for the year. And then you look at defensive equity. For the 1 year, they've done 12.9 versus 11. You put them in November 2023. You will see that going forward with an extremely volatile market, defensive equity will really protect you. And even though it's 5%, that 5% took some of the risk off the table in the portfolio. We turn to page 34. Real estate was negative for the quarter. For the year, it did 2.5. Since inception of October, it's annualized 4.3 versus the benchmark of 2.6. Real estate pays a nice dividend, and you kind of have stuck with it. We expect that real estate in the next couple of years is going to do very well for you. Remember, you funded it with 50% fixed income, which we know fixed income last year did great, but there's years that fixed income only do 2 to 5%. But it does pay that. And real estate going forward, we think has really taken the hit, and we'll start to see that grow. Infrastructure, you put infrastructure in, and it did for the year 11.2. Your global infrastructure manager did 11.2, returned that versus 5.8 since you put them in about 2-3 years. January 2023, you've done 8.8 versus 6.1. So that was a nice return. And you also funded that with half a fixed income. And you look at fixed income since inception, while you've outperformed the benchmark, it has only done 2.7 annualized. for all those years. So it did 7.3. CS McKee's done well for you, 7.4 versus 7.3. And Baird Core Plus Bond Fund did well too, 7.5 versus 7.3. Are there any questions? All right, I think you're in good shape. I think we'll, heading into this market, I think you're well positioned and you had a great year. And if you just quickly go look at this, which I handed out, sorry, send it over. We'll just look the flash report and this, Rocky, you were talking about this. As of January 31st, you hit 101.2 and performance for the month was 2.1 versus 1.9%. So sometimes you have managers who will not do well and then the next month they'll outperform. That's why we always say to look at a manager 3, 5, and 7 years. And we know that we will only get rid of a manager, if something has changed, if we're, even though they may be underperforming, if they still have the same portfolio management team and they're still following what we want them to do. Last year, remember, we got rid of Artisan because one of the portfolio managers left. We fired them immediately. So we just, it's always nice to look, but don't judge a manager on a 6-month return, a month return, a year return, usually 3 to 5, 7 years. That's how we look at them.
Very good.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, it's great to see everybody.
Thank you, Sarah. New business. For the actuarial services, I want to make a motion to recommend hire and Foster for our actuarial services.
I'll second that.
Mr. Zelinka,
Yes.
Mrs. Herman, yes. Mr. Arner,
Yes.
Mr. Notstein,
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco.
Yes.
Any further business? No? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. All right, we're good here. Any questions for the retirement board from the news? Okay. And we will open it up for questions generally. Start with, last week, I think we started, didn't we? Yeah. We'll start with Amy.
Morning. With regards to the auditing services, I know you guys have, that was tabled twice before. And you approved it this time. So what changed that needed to work out to get that approved?
Just a few minor provisions. So indemnification, choice of law, I think it was. Yeah.
So nothing major.
No, nothing substantive.
It's just the way it was worded, I think.
Yeah.
right?
Not on the agenda. Is there any update in regards to, I know the $18,000 grant for with the train station and the parking? Any update on that?
I'll let Jen give you that. You had a very good meeting. Go ahead. No, tell it. No. Jen and Jody are doing a very good job. Jody Hinger, our grants coordinator, and Jen was the one who really spearheaded, filing for that. So she could give you a little update. Go ahead.
We had meetings yesterday. Waiting for the contract basically to come in, and then we got 6 entities that are interested in doing the project. So you're gonna contact them and see, briefly what they're gonna offer for us, if it's will be good or not. From them and for a contract to come.
And the focal point of that grant is to handle the pedestrian flow, how people entered it, and the placement of where all our vendors are. It's a big one, because obviously, if you have a vendor sitting right in the path of pedestrian traffic, that's causing some issues too. So that is a bigger part of the focus of what the grant was about.
A year project, they said, so it's gonna take a little bit until we get the contract and move forward. And I know Mock Chunk Trust has vacated the train station and does kind of corral off the parking area on weekends. That's all going to be included in that part of the project as well, or That's.
I think the. if
Right
I'm cor-
now, no, there's nothing concrete as far as what's gonna happen in that building.
As far as the area you're speaking about, we are discussing areas because we have found out that by having that blocked off on heavy traffic, it is it is a huge help in the traffic coming out of the parking lot and how people flow through there. We're working out how we can accommodate to do that on a regular basis. But there's right of ways, easements and everything that are involved with PennDOT. And we have a survey that has been done and we kind of know where property lines in that are. So there's a permit process we need to go through to do any type of improvement as far as the widening of that area for sidewalks and the elimination of the parking spaces. I know Commissioner Arner has been up at the MPO and PennDOT very much would like us to eliminate the parking of the cars coming out of the street, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and on Tuesday at our MPO meeting, I more or less told them we want to get rid of the parking because it is a safety issue. But there's a little bit more involved in it than just a study here because there might even have to be a traffic study done. You know what I mean, itself for PennDOT. So in our application that we're doing, this might take a while and it's one of those things that if the traffic pattern would change, it might have to get on the tip, just like our bridges do, to get things, like if you're doing a bridge or a highway or something like that. So, I think we'll probably know a little bit more. I think we're having a tip meeting, in April, but, there's really nothing definite now because we don't even know like what the setbacks are gonna be or what even PennDOT is gonna tell us what to do. We have suggestions that we want to try and make it better. We don't, and that's why we're giving it up. We're giving dollars up for the parking to make it safer and to make it easier for transportation. Because the worst thing that we want to do is right now things are flowing and we don't want it to stop flowing. And that third lane sometimes is important. So that's something, it's not gonna happen overnight. Like Jen said, like this study that they're working on is a year. This might take us a year to get it through, but I won't know much more until I think in April, we're having another tip meeting. So then I'll have more information, but.
Now, that compounds the parking problem though, taking the spots away. You guys looking long-term of any way to build on parking plan?
Would be nice if we could put a parking garage in there. However, what are you gonna do for the 2, 3 years it's gonna take to build it? Where are you gonna park them for those years? Because a construction project there is gonna take off an awful lot of space. The payback on the long-term construction cost, the last figure I heard was a minimum of 20,000 per space. And what is the rate of return? What are we gonna lose in the meantime? How are we gonna finance it? How many cars you wanna park? Yeah, it looks nice on paper, but are people gonna complain as well as the aesthetics of the downtown and everything else by putting up 3, 4 layers or stories of parking? So I don't know, it would be very challenging to do that. But with that, bringing in more people, you have the other problems. How do you serve that many people in the community now? You know what it's like when it comes in, train comes in from Reading and the electric car comes in and the steam train comes in. It is a madhouse to begin with. And how many people can the borough accommodate is the bigger problem I see other than parking. We've done a lot of things and others, not just us, meeting with Jim Thorpe and other organizations on creating other parking spaces at other facilities and bussing them in and that. I don't see that as the biggest problem anymore. It's gonna be the biggest problem. It's gonna be how many people can you handle?
Yeah, and when Mock Chunk Lake isn't open, that's a perfect place to park people, but that doesn't help us in the summertime. So we have to maybe look for some alternative, I don't know, a third-party parking area that you could run back and forth. And I said, that'll help business too. If we have something like that, and then the trolleys and stuff, it'll give them a little bit more running people back and forth. So, for us, like Wayne said, oh my God, like if it costs us couple $1 million to put a parking. And like you said, you have piers, you got ramps going up. So are you really gaining any kind of space? The only way you could do it is build something that would be a free span that would come in off of another higher elevation without the ramps. I mean, ramps are what kills you. I mean, we could put a building up and you're not even gonna gain anything. So,
I think are you done?
no,
I think-
it's like,
I think there's
I
three
don't know
things,
where to go.
there's three things that the commissioners are looking at, or we're all trying to figure out. Number one is parking. And, you know, you can park 10,000 cars, but that don't mean we can fit everybody. So that's a huge park. How do we help with the parking situation? And Commissioner Arndt said about the lake and parking deck. Number two is the pedestrians. I mean, last week alone, between the trains that came in, there were close to 1,000 people on those trains. I remember a couple of years back when everybody says, why don't you ride a train into Jim Thorpe? It would save on the parking problem. And it does. But I can tell you this, the trains were full, the parking lot was full. So what's happened is now you got to deal with parking and pedestrian traffic. So you have everybody that drove here to ride the train and everybody that rode a train to get here, which is, thank God they rode the train because we'd have traffic still sitting in Lehighton. So we're trying to work both of those. And then the other issue that the commissioners face all the time is the quality of life. How does it affect the local residents here in Jim Thorpe? And it not only affects Jim Thorpe, but it affects Nescahoning, it affects Lehighton, it affects everybody that can't get around or get anywhere. Because, I mean, if you knew how many times on a weekend I get a text, what's traffic like in Jim Thorpe? Because they want to get through to go somewhere else. And so that affects a quality of life in the whole county. So that's why these studies are being done, because there is, you know, even Disney World gets overcrowded and you don't go. So there's got to be a way, like, how do we help the parking? And is more parking the real answer? And I'm not so sure that is the answer, because it's just putting more people on the street. And if we don't address how people walk around downtown and get through, bringing more people in on the train, and we have had meetings with Andy Moeller and the train, and they have slowed down some on the amount of people and the number of runs. But the problem is people want to come to Jim Thorpe and ride a train out of Jim Thorpe. And it's his business, so I understand that part as well. So that's why the pedestrian, like, what do they do in the meantime, waiting for their train ride? They walk around Jim Thorpe, which is great for business, but something has to give. And if you want to make more space for people to walk, well, like, you know, we don't want, like, we would not want to lose the crowd, but let's face it, you've seen the benefits of that being closed, especially on a busy weekend. So is there a design that allows you to close it during the weekend and allow some of that parking to be used during the week? Is there a way to get, and that's all within an easement, a right of way, a cartway of what PennDOT has. And that's where this all comes to. And obviously the borough, as Wayne said, is a huge part, but those three things are what we're really looking at: parking, pedestrian traffic, and the quality of life of how it's going to affect.
Add
everybody.
number 4,
Yes, number 4.
job Johnny's.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
do you
Yeah.
accommodate 1,000 people coming in with, needing restroom facilities?
And
You know, it's, what we put out last year on rentals for job Johnnies, and I don't recall offhand, but it's a tremendous amount of money that we rent all these facilities. And every time we do stuff like that, how many spaces do we lose in parking? 20, 30 spaces in parking.
Yeah, we lose a lot of
So
spaces and
you
then.
try to
I
fix
think
things and you lose
I think
more
we had
spaces, you know.
20 regular porta potties and I think 4 handicap. That takes up a lot of space. And I think the other thing, like, I mean, yeah, we want people to come here, but we had the situation with the food. And then we wanted to get more vendors in the park. And then the more you have, we can't even handle the extra for that. People walking up Broadway, can they handle the people, you know, at the food places or the places that sell clothing? It's like, you know, and we don't want people to get turned off not to come here. You know, that's the thing.
And the
I-
pedestrians, they're a problem too. They're crossing all over the place.
Yeah.
And it ties up traffic even more because people can't even get through when they do get a green light.
No.
Because people just keep walking, and it's not only at the crosswalks here, it's in the middle of the streets all over the place. It just makes it even worse because they don't obey the crosswalk signs.
But one thing I always, and I say this all the time to get out there, is those three things. But the thing I always say is the train station is owned by Carbon County. It will remain owned by Carbon County. So when everybody always says, oh, the county's going to sell the train station, that is nothing more than a rumor or whatever's out there. So when you start hearing that again, please back up. You're not selling the train station.
No, we are
Not selling the train station.
The three are sitting here, the train
Train
station will
stations.
not be sold. Okay.
Now, with that thought in mind, we do rent the train station, and you've seen that, and we are looking at ways that best utilize the train station and how it's laid out to those who are renting it. And case in point, I want everyone, if you get a chance, take a look at the one door that everyone goes in and out at the train station. There's close to 400,000 people that visit Jim Thorpe, and they go in and out, what, a 20-inch door
Yeah, a little bit more.
all day long. And they've basically worn that door right off the train
I don't
station.
know, I don't know how many times we replaced the hinges on that.
Right.
I'm not kidding. It's like, they just did it again, and I think one of the hinges got knocked off again.
Right. So with that said, we are always talking with, Pocono Mountain Vacation, but trains, everybody, JTTA, how the building can be best utilized to meet the needs of, like we were saying, the pedestrians and people who are walking around, because you can't have everybody keep going in and out of one door. It just doesn't add up. Yes, there's an emergency exit, but that's never opened unless there's an emergency. Thank God we haven't had that, but that needs to change. And that will change. And that's another part of this whole study, how it all flows together. It's just an update. Unfortunately, because we have the state involved and other people at the table, permits, requirements are always going to need to be met. On a positive side, you should let everybody know this, though. If it wasn't for parking in Jim Thorpe and the amount of money the county does make, the past 3 years, we've been able to take between $1.5 million to $1.7 million out of the county funds to offset budget shortfalls and adjustments we've made. So when people say, well, what does the county or I as a taxpayer get out of tourism? That works out to about anywhere from $1 million to $1.5 million in taxes. And that was never done in the past. We started to do that as commissioners because we heard that from the street, like, what are you getting? And that is I don't want to say a savings, but it is, if you didn't have that, you need to add that. And you'd say, well, then there has to be county services that would be cut to make up that budget shortfall. And they're absolutely right. So we have been able to take money from there. And I don't know how the budget looks going into this year for the state. From what I read in the newspaper early on, doesn't sound good, but we'll hope that the powers that be out in Harrisburg can get it all together. But if not, the county will once again be resorted to using that funds to continue to offset what we don't have to get till a budget pass comes through. So there is the benefits of what you get from the county parking. Those are two huge areas that really helped us out or help taxpayers of Carbon County. Otherwise, we'd have to raise taxes higher than what they are. And we do not want to raise tax. We don't sit here trying to figure out a way to raise taxes. We try to figure out a way to keep it down. It doesn't always work. I mean, especially last year with what all went on.
And I know, like, even you're talking, we're trying to make it easier on the local people, to try to get them parking, that it doesn't
Mhm.
cost them anything. And like a lot of people, they complain that it's $25 to park here. But try to go to New York or Savannah or any other place, it's $35 a day. So we're actually under the rate, I would say, and we're not really discouraging people, because we even get emails like, oh, it's outrageous, but if you travel anywhere else in the country, we're probably one of the lowest rates for parking, daily parking that there is.
And I think for local, those who come here to do county business, we've now got every office on that they can stamp, and you get 2 hours of free parking. And if it extends past that, they give it to you, they'll stamp it again. I mean, it's basically the way it works, so that people who want to go into the county office and.
The aging director and I went to Harrisburg last year. I paid $41 to park in Harrisburg to help our county.
One of the other things that a lot of our employees really don't realize either, some counties charge their employees to park. I don't know, to Lancaster and. Yeah. The few
Lancaster.
that charge the employees to park.
And in Lancaster, I think, but I think the way it works is the closer you get to the courthouse, whether you're outside parking or inside parking or in the parking deck, goes from anywhere from $50 a month to as high as $110 a month. So, and that's what they like to do. We do not do any of that, so. And I think that's one thing people do need to understand is that it, like, oh, I don't want to go down Corsica, I got to pay to park. No, you just call and make the appointment, go and get the ticket, validate it, and it's free parking. You have to be in doing county business, but there's no need not to do that. Anything else? You heard enough, I could tell.
Yeah, basically, there's like units that are there that have to be emptied annually, or there's some that sometimes it all depends what it is. It could be 6 months that they get emptied. It's just like a regular, it's almost like coming in and getting the porta potties emptied.
Fixing it up, is it like a full replacement or just repair?
No, that's just repairs.
It's just repairs, it's just updating.
Yeah.
I wish we could get, what was that? I think $7,000 was the number. And I wish we could get a whole elevator for $7,000.
Yeah.
That would be the killer. It would be awesome. If it was, we'd have 3 of them. But the elevator, it does need some updates. Just make sure that it stays in working order. Anything further? Okay, well, everyone enjoy your weekend. Have a good one. I know there's some events going on around the county, so check your local Facebook pages and newspapers and get out there and support those.